Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Press Hour. Every life lost in the socio-political crisis in the Northwest and Southwest regions is one too many. And this has been happening for 9 years running. And this has been happening, we say, for 9 years running. I hear that there is no problem without a solution. The question here is, why is the solution to the crisis taking too long? Human blood, especially the blood of the innocent, is paying the heavy price. The other day, 14 lives, mostly women and children, lost in Gidado, Indu, bringing back the memories of the Ngabo and Kumba school massacres. The best that we get as response to such heinous crime against humanity is condemnation of the killings. We can do and should do better than the passive calls of condemnation, especially at this time that the crisis is mutating to community violence and killings. So on Press Hour today, we ask, can community dialogue stop the massacres? I am Kilian Dandifon in Yaoundé, and this is Press Hour. The question we're asking, that's what we're going to focus on as a debate today on Press Hour is, can community dialogue stop the massacres in the Northwest and Southwest regions? And to talk about this issue, which is burning, which has been burning, we do not know for how long it's going to burn Cameroon and the lives of its citizens. We have invited Professor Zengwa Willibrod, who is a peace and conflict management expert. He is also the president of the Heritage Institute for Peace and Development Studies. Welcome to this program, Prof.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm always very impressed to share a panel discussion with these very able gentlemen. For an intro, I think I must not continue without doping my heart and extending condolences to the people of Gidado, especially those who were affected by the killings, and of course, by extension, all those who have suffered from the brink of this crisis, who have suffered many deaths, well, including, we leave out womb, which have suffered enormously from these exactions during this period, and all over the Northwest and the Southwest regions, I must say.
Thank you so much. We are going to revisit some of those incidents and actually talk about that. Bring our opinions on how we should not only condemn when they happen, how we should bring lasting solutions. We should bring an end to the sociopolitical crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Senator Enwi Francis Abi, who is an elite of the Northwest region, and he is also a peace leader. He has been doing so much to stop the crisis. You're welcome, Senator.
Thank you. It's my pleasure being here again, and with this very powerful panel and personalities that I think when we put our brains together, something must come out as a solution.
Yes, it will come out, and we want to think that when it comes out, it should have an impact on what is happening. I introduce you this time, Dr. Ayuk Take Menyang, who is an expert in inclusivity. He's also an elite from Manu Division in the Southwest region. You're welcome, Doctor.
Thank you, Mr. Kilian, for once more inviting me to share knowledge on peace education, youth empowerment, and living together in order to bring order and peace in the Northwest and Southwest region. I'm happy to be here. Greetings to fellow panelists.
Ndi Eugene Sinyondi is the editor-in-chief. He is the publisher of Newswatch magazine, Newswatch newspaper. Welcome.
Thank you, Kilian, and Happy New Year to all the panelists here. It's a pleasure again being on the panel for the first time in 2026. I'm happy that for the first time I'm meeting respected Professor Zengwa Willie Broad,
Senator Enwe
Enwe,
Francis,
and then my brother, Dr. And
Dr.
I'm
Ayuk.
sure that with Dr. Ayuk and the rest of the panel, we're going to contribute our own share to lasting peace in the Northwest and Southwest, provided those who are there to listen and act upon what we are going to say here. It's a pleasure again and again, like Professor Zengwa, I want to extend my deepest condolences to our brothers and sisters and families of the victims of the Gidado massacre. That reminds us of the Ngarbu massacre, that reminds us of the 1992 genocide, all happening in the subdivision of the Donga Mountain Division, where I happen to come from. My condolences, and we are all together.
Thank you so much, Ndi, Eugene D. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we invite Clovis Bawe, who read the newspapers for Press Hour. Press Hour is first and foremost about the press.
Newspapers this week reopen one of Cameroon's darkest chapters, the Ngarbu massacre. 6 years after the tragic incident, the Guardian Post and Cameroon Insider report that 4 soldiers have been found guilty in connection with the killings. The Horizon adds that the verdict will be delivered by the Yaoundé Military Tribunal on February 9. Beyond the court's proceedings, the Guardian Post in a separate edition broadens the debate through an editorial, arguing that Cameroon's judicial system is in urgent need for reform if justice is to truly serve the people. The sad memories of Ngarbu resurrected those of the Gidado massacre. Cameroon Tribune, splashed on its front page, reports on government support to victims. The paper says the Prime Minister, head of government, Chief Dr. Joseph John Guti, received a delegation of the Mbororo Social and Cultural Development Association to convey the head of state's condolences and outline measures taken to protect the community. Like a wound yet to heal, the armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions resurfaced prominently in the press. On January 20, the Guardian Post questions whether the government has abandoned Anglophones to the mercies of Amba fighters, while the Astute Inc. wonders when the killings in the 2 regions will finally come to an end. In an editorial dated January 21, the Guardian Post calls on Anglophone separatist leaders and Amba fighters to choose dialogue over arms, stressing that peace remains the only viable path forward. Still on dialogue, Cameroon Insider revisits the head of state's promise of a community dialogue as a cornerstone for restoring lasting peace in the restive regions. In another publication, the paper reports on the United States' unwavering support for peace efforts. On a lighter note, the Herald Tribune turns attention to the ongoing works on the Bamenda Urban Crossing, noting that residents are watching with excitement as excavators roll in. Constitutional matters also dominated the week's headlines. Cameroon Tribune reports that 30 years after the promulgation of the January 18, 1996 Constitution, certain provisions require revision to reflect present-day realities. The Median adds that the anticipated constitutional review has temporarily stalled the formation of a new government. Politics also added its own twist to the week. Several newspapers reacted to Issa Chiroma Bakari's intention to boycott the upcoming legislative and municipal elections. The Post draws parallels with Ni John Frondi and Maurice Kamto questioning whether the FSNC leader can remain politically relevant after such a move. Meanwhile, The Horizon reports that following his announcement, Issa Chiroma has been asked to step aside. On the economic front, Cameroon is gearing to host the World Trade Organization Ministerial Conference in March. Cameroon Tribune headlines a preparatory meeting chaired by the Prime Minister, urging stakeholders to fast-track preparations. Riding on this, the Guardian Post reports that the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, has unveiled a roadmap to give Yaoundé a facelift following instructions from the head of state. Financial concerns also stirred public anxiety. Both the Median and the Guardian Post report that the governor of the Bank of Central African States, BEAC, has dismissed rumors of an imminent devaluation of the franc CFA, assuring the public that the currency remains stable. And finally, sports wrapped up the week. Cameroon Insider reports that the MTN Elite One Championship kicks off with Unisport of Onkam facing Aigle of the Menua in an opening match scheduled for the Bafang Municipal Stadium. And that brings us to the end of our press review this week. Thank you for the pleasure of your company. Do join us again next week.
Thank you so much, Clovis. God willing, we'll be together again next week for another edition of Press Hour. We are talking about community dialogue, and it's been inspired by what happened in Gidado, in the Northwest region. Massacre of 14 innocent people, mostly women and children. Let us call on one of our reporters, Ola Titanki from Bamenda, to remind us about what happened in Gidado, because that's going to be the space setter for our discussion of today.
Regional Hospital Annex in Kambe, medical specialists and trauma healing experts are administering treatment and care to the injured victims from the attack on the Mbororo community in Gidadu, Manfong, Indu subdivision.
10 of the victims were referred to the Nkambe Regional Hospital Annex for specialized care. We received them all in a state of psychological acute stress disorder, and physically they were all polytraumatized, and 7 of them have fractures of various severities, degrees, and complexities.
Administrative officials have heightened security with defense forces on constant patrol.
Security measures are put in place both during the day and in the night. We have also revamped the vigilance groups.
The cruel and savage attack on the Mbororo community in Gidadu resulted in 14 deaths, including children and women, and caused significant property destruction. This tragic incident has left the community in shock and deeply traumatized.
We are as traumatized here in Yaoundé and on Press Hour as those who are on the scene back there in Gidado and in the Northwest. And those people who are traumatized, as even the wounded in the hospital, are reminding us of other incidents. One of them is in Gabu and another in Kumba, where we also had massacres. We are going to look at some of those images just as a reminder.
We need end of this. We need peace in Cameroon. Our children are dying every day. They have not done anything to deserve this. This is not the life they were expecting. No, we said no. We said no to the war in the Cameroon, in the Northwest, in the Southwest.
They were really inconsolate. We want to continue to watch those images, please. The director, you're not supposed to stop. We're watching those images as I speak. Okay, those are some of the images from Kumba. Yes, you saw there we had 8 school children who were massacred in Kumba for the crime they didn't commit. They only wanted to go to school. They only were seeking to have education. And it ended up the way you see the families and the other people as affected as all of us are as Cameroonians. We also had Dangabu incident, which saw some reports later on said about 21 people died, and so many of them also children and women. Yes, back to the set now. We have watched those horrible images. These are not all the incidents that we have had, where we have had massacres in this socio-political crisis in the Northwest and Southwest region. Now, the call now Professor Zanva Willie brought. It's for community dialogue, because somehow the Ngabu, the Gidado incidents are giving the impression that it's getting to community conflict, community violence and killings. What do we understand by community violence and killing, and community dialogue, which we are going to focus on? And how can this help stop what we now are describing as something that has been ignored more than other conflicts in the world?
Well, thank you very much for the question. I think when we go through these pictures again, it is really appealing to the consciences of the powers that be, to every single entity, every single community, to be able to make a huge contribution so that we can roll back these sins. A community dialogue should just mean changing the words, dialogue within the communities. And this dialogue should be broad-based, inclusive, non-partisan engagement in discussing on an issue. In this case, the issue of the conflict situation in the Northwest and Southwest regions. Question: can community dialogue stop the killings in these communities?
Before even you answer that question, why community? Why community?
Well, community, because we all belong to communities. And it is from within those communities that we should be able to map our differences. Within those communities, we see there is peace and conflicts are two sides of the same coin, and they live within the heart of man. So wherever there is a community, there is peace and conflict. And therefore, be it in the church, be it in our traditional communities, be it in political setups, be it in our tribal ethnic polities, those communities must be the first bench to engage in dialogue so as to be able to identify and roll back vengeance. Because wherever there is a conflict in these communities, we need to discuss, we need to dialogue. If not, we are going to cause people to bear grudges. And when we bear grudges, it means that we are going to revenge in future. So we must be able to engage in this dialogue within the communities in Gabu, in Wum, in Kambe, in Batibo, all over, because we know what crimes have been committed in these areas. We know who has been able to kill. Some of those who have killed are identifiable. So should we let it go so that we revenge in future? That's why community engagement is very, very important. But community dialogue cannot stop the killings, because there are many things which is not dependent on the community to dialogue on. Let us remember we are talking about the crisis. The crisis in the Northwest and Southwest region is beyond the communities. It is a problem of identity which needs a political will from the central political desk. What that means simply is that the leadership of this country, those who are holding power, are supposed to be the first to accept and encourage the community dialogue. Because community dialogue, no matter how effective the community dialogue is, if it doesn't have baptism from the leadership of the country, from the highest authorities, we are not going to solve the problem. So that is why community dialogue must go alongside a national dialogue, a national debate, which should be able to pick on one thing after another. For example, what is the crisis about? The community cannot be able to tell us about federalism. A community cannot talk about federalism. A community cannot talk about revision of the Constitution. They can simply propose. So if it is an issue of status quo, an issue of identity, the Anglophone identity, with all what it takes, the legal, the legislative, the educational system, and all of that, it cannot be discussed within the community to bring lasting solutions. So while the killings, we can engage to roll back the killings from the communities, there should be a global perspective from a national dialogue. We should go side by side. So there should be, generally put, the general will from the central government of Cameroon to actually get to resolving the conflicts within the different communities.
Thank you. And I have one of the panelists here, Senator Enwe Francis Abi, who has been one of those leading members for peace in his community. And we've lived some instances where the community dialogue is working. Tell us how it has been working in your community, the efforts you've made, and what actually we have to do and whether it can stop the violence and killings.
Well, thank you, Killian. I may at some point differ a bit with the Prof on how the violence can be stopped by community dialogue. I would say Widikum is a tested example. It's a case study where we worked as a community to achieve what we had. And you see for a couple of, close to a year, no incident. And how did this happen? We had to now dialogue among ourselves. I will not wait for Yaoundé to come and decide what happens with when my people are dying every day, and we know who is the perpetrator. So the best thing was to talk with the perpetrator. I said, why can't you stop violence? And what we did in Widikum, especially with the last move that we did in August, it was a program that took about 9 months. Negotiations, middlemen, all of that to talk to the boys. And it involved everybody. The youth were involved, the women were involved, the elite were involved, the administration, the security forces were involved in the negotiations, because you must know somebody that knows one of the boys and that one of the boys can listen to, and you pass through those channels. You know, we were trying to tease the ground and see how far it can go, but it ended up being a very big success. We worked with the churches. You know, before even having this, I had meetings with the moderator of the Presbyterian Church. I had meetings with the Archbishop of Bamenda, Archdiocese, and the imams and other religious and traditional authorities to plan for this event. And during this period, we organized a workshop for 2 days where over 300 people participated. And during this workshop, we had training on peace building, at least to promote peaceful coexistence among ourselves. I think we used people like Professor So Christopher, who is an expert in that field as well. He was in Widikum for all those days. We had experts in how do I say, in psychosocial support to talk about the trauma, because many people have been really traumatized about this issue. And they had meetings with the perpetrators. They were there, and we had meetings with the victims who were all present. We had to even prepare the pictures of those that have died in Widikum within that period. Over 100 people. We enlarged them and laid them there for family members to come and identify their families and pick them. And then before this time, we had meetings with the church to plan something like a reconciliation. We're trying to copy what happened in South Africa, and, Rwanda, and other places. And it worked. During this ceremony, you could see the perpetrators. They call themselves, some people call them terrorists, Amber Boys, and so on. They had their own canopy. People know all of them. We had removed them to DDR. We brought them down. And during that time, the people picked their pictures. It was a very emotional period. And the clergy organized an ecumenical service. And during that ecumenical service, they brought together the perpetrators and the victims. And they all embraced themselves. And you could see people crying. Some of the perpetrators wept and said, "We are sorry. We will never do this again." And you see some of the women or men saying, "We forgive you. You killed my brother. You killed my husband. You killed my son. We have forgiven you." We were still teasing the ground. And after that, they have been living together. You see them drinking in meeting houses together. And the few that are still somewhere in the bushes have been negotiating their way out gradually. I remember even after elections, I was to come out with some, but I left a bit earlier and had to arrange. He came. The day he got to Widikum, that same night, the military had attacked the camp where they were and killed 4 of his friends. When the news came and they showed him a video, he was trembling. Said, me too, I would die. I would have died as well. So I think community dialogue it needs the participation of everybody. The youths of Widikum, the women, the traditional authorities, the clergy, the administration, we work together and we achieve what we achieved. Yes, there is a bigger picture about community dialogue, where we say, yeah, that comes from the central administration as a political decision, but you don't allow your community for people to be killed every day when you can actually talk and stop it.
It's very simplistic the way the senator puts it. I am very convinced that if we are very serious in this country, we are going to talk very seriously. For 4 years, I've gone around all the regions of this country and done an effective conflict map in this country. For every region in Widikum, I know the conflicts. And we have been able to engage in what we call broad-based participatory engagement in community development. And I mean what I'm saying, that we can engage in community development, community peace building. But as far as the Anglophone problem in the Northwest and Southwest regions are concerned, we can only bring some dialogue which is not going to provide the solution for which the people protested in the first place. And that is why we say that it is not very warm to push aside what we are saying and give you our own example in Widikum that we master. We are saying that all of us should not be able to. For 4 years, I've not been in the media, I've been everywhere in Cameroon to talk about community peace building. Not in Widikum, not in Cambe, but all over. We have been able to talk about what dialogue should be, and we have organized conferences on that. Not within. So what we are trying to say is that, yes, dialogue, community dialogue is very important. But what is the community dialogue building as peace? Is it solving the root causes of the conflict that started, or is it just to roll back? Because we are talking about the victims.
Rolling back, is it not important? Because what he is talking about, I saw a good number, you can give us a number of these separatist fighters whom he brought out from the bush. He gave them motorcycles, he gave them some other stuff, and he said that they are in the society. Should we wait for the global solution, or we should go his way?
Killian, I just said that for 5 years we have been practically in all the regions of the country. I can tell you what the conflict between the Bororos and the community in Gadi, in the East region. I can tell you the conflict that is happening between the host communities, the ex-combatants, the refugees in Zamai. I can tell you the conflict that is existing in QC between the Bamoons and the host communities. I can tell you each community what conflicts. And we came out with a conflict map. So
yes, I met you in Zamai once. Zamai is in the far north, where you have the refugees from Nigeria. Yeah. They've been going back gradually.
So answering to your question, we must not wait. We must be engaged in the broad-based participatory engagement, but it also depends on who is involved. And that is why I say it should be non-partisan. I want to pray that politicians should hear me out. I am on my knees to tell politicians that they are the ones who are holding the country tight and causing the conflict to go on. Because they are the only ones. It seems as though if somebody became a politician today, he becomes all-knowing. He's the peace crusader, he's the contractor, he is whatever, he's everything. And I want to say that everybody has a lane. Just imagine a situation where we have the SDF parliamentarians talking peace in Cambe, and they are leading the peace discussion. What becomes the other political parties? That is why we acknowledge and we recommend that peace building should not be done by politicians. The politicians should stay and be active participants, not leading. Because so long as the politicians are leading any discussions, they are antagonizing the other politicians. Because what is happening is that we are doing political games. I'm sorry we are talking this. My friend Eugene is just, and my doctor there. But this is a very sensitive topic. We are saying that while there is inclusion, as the Honorable say, that inclusion should involve the women, the men, the journalists, civil society organizations, traditional authorities, religious leaders. But for once, the politicians have been doing the same thing and getting the same results.
Now,
No,
let me get.
I would differ with Prof here. I am a politician.
Briefly, because
yes,
Dr. Ayuk,
I am a politician,
yes,
and I championed this peace process, and it worked. With the people, with the population.
What about the people from the other parties, opposition parties?
We were all working together.
Okay.
All the elite were working together.
We want the politicians. The recommendation we give politicians is this: the politicians should keep their political jackets aside.
During my occasions, there was no party uniform in this occasion.
Can I land?
Nobody talked there as a party.
What I want to say that I want to see Honorable Engwi,
yes,
and the leader of the SDF, the leader of the MRC, the leader of this, keep aside the political garments aside.
We have
hold their hands and get
that.
into the Northwest and Southwest regions and talk peace and reconciliation within those communities, so that at the end we go back and
we did that, and that's why I think we're a case study.
Thank you. Now I'm going to go to Dr. Ayuk Takemeyang, who is here. He is an expert in inclusivity. Thank God, that's what Professor Zengwa was talking about. Now, what's the situation in your own area? You are an elite from Mali.
Thank you very much, Kilian. Before I continue, I want to reiterate that no meaningful growth and development can take place in Cameroon without stable communities. Community dialogue is a complement, is complementary in solving the crisis. It will not replace national level dialogue. That is accepted, it's a fact. It is necessary for me to, first of all, say it clearly that politicians are advocates of peace. The job of a politician is to ensure that problems in the community are solved, and to ensure that the people can have basic facilities. So if there's a problem, a conflict, or a crisis in the community, and politicians are not involved, I don't know if in where I come from, if there's a problem now and you're a politician, you don't preach peace, nobody will vote you there. I want to substantiate. Two important
if
points.
I understand him,
I'm coming there.
Is that when the politician goes for peace, peace is under political campaign instead of political campaign either being absent or being under peace. I think, if I'm not making a mistake, that's the idea you're driving.
The issue is solving problems. It's not how the method you use to solve a problem, but what we want is that the problem should be solved. If the people need health facility and you're coming as a politician and you have your political ideology and you're providing them the health facilities, there's no problem. If the people need peace and you're coming as a politician, you have your political point of view and you ensure you speak peace that the people need at this time. I don't see anything bad with it.
No.
Let me
Continue.
I want to
Eugene, don't worry.
buttress my facts with two issues in Manu division in this January, where community dialogue provided a solution to because when we look at the present forms of the conflict, you discover that the problem is in the community. It's like if a husband and the wife, they are having a problem, you can invite 10 million people to come and solve the problem, but the problem lies in the husband and the wife. In Manu division this January, the mayor of Eyumojok, the mayor and chief of Eyumojok, Ntufam Jack Ayamba Ita, was kidnapped. And I think that a form of community dialogue, which I will not want to expand, took place that ensured his peaceful release, and the people were happy. In Manu division, where I come from, this January there was a strike, a peaceful strike about electricity. I want to thank the administrative authorities, the SDO and the divisional officers. They held meetings and they provided peaceful solutions to the problem. As I talk, There are 7 brand new transformers in Manfe which have been installed, and the people are having light. So dialogue is a key to problems. Even at the level we are talking about community dialogue, I started by saying that it will not replace national level dialogue. But just like the dialogue, not only at the level of the community, at the level of the family, the families. The point also about the present Anglophone conflict, when we look at the forms, some of the forms you cannot even, an outsider cannot get in there easily. You need people who are from that community to share experiences and look for the way forward. Permit me use this opportunity to thank the minister.
I will give you the time at the end.
His Excellency Mengot Victor Array, for an advocate of community dialogue and living together, which is yielding fruits in Manu Division.
Now,
thank you.
I will want you to keep the microphone.
Okay.
In Upper Tinto, especially, you have the Fotabe village. There's someone there, Seseko Yongta, who behaved like Senator Enwe Francis at one time. He decided to go and meet the boys, the expression I'm using, the boys in the bushes. He particularly did that, and people started saying that he was conniving with them, conspiring with them. But he waived that. And in his village, there is relative calm, if I should say there is calm, with a similar approach that was used somewhere. Now, what are the other communities in Manu doing to emulate, to copy such an example?
Yeah. I think what we are doing in Manu, the elites, what we are doing is peace education. The people need to be informed, and youth empowerment. My village is just a stone throw from his village. We are from the same clan. And I think a major part of Manu Division is peaceful. I have warned severally that people should not use this, the present conflict or crisis in the Northwest and Southwest to become criminals. A lady said that this must stop. I want to also add my voice that this must stop, because if we discover that it is the vulnerable, look at the Mburu area, what happened? It's the vulnerable population that is suffering. So I think that Manu Division, the tool is peace education, youth empowerment, and we are moving forward.
Thank you so much.
You just talked about lights in Manfe. That lights have been reinstalled in Manfe, and they pass through Widikum from Bamenda. And yet Widikum does not have light. So I think we have to ask the Manfe people what they did to make sure that there was light there.
There was a strike. Did you strike?
No, Eugene, you have the microphone. Can community dialogue stop the violence and massacre?
Since we are dialoguing, let me tell you, we are 42 minutes into the program. That ends in 18 minutes, and this is the first time I'm giving.
How many minutes do you want? I will give you.
No, it's a dialogue. Don't let's start from here.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So that when I speak for the number of minutes, I saw Prof sympathize that I've not been speaking,
yes.
But he was speaking, but he could sympathize with me.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that said, I want to start. I am not fond of quoting Biya. You know me on this program, but I want to say that when President Biya on November 6th last year talked about community dialogue as a way out, I think he realized that all what he has been told about solutions to lasting peace in the Northwest and Southwest has not been working. Because some politicians, let me put it that way, excluding Senator Enwe, who is giving a balance sheet of a very laudable initiative here, but we'll come to that. He realized that some politicians were taking over and feeding him with lies. I will explain. This crisis, this current crisis, has deeply, Prof said he has done some studies. It has deeply escalated community grievances. I have been to the communities as a reporter, like I've been to some communities in the Northwest and Southwest as a reporter, and I understand what I'm talking about. Community dialogue It's a very critical link that has been missing since 9 years. I'm talking this under the control of a peace advocate and senior lecturer, Professor Zengwa, who has done studies on that. But I'm speaking from the standpoint of the experience of a reporter.
Yes.
There has been a very big missing link, which is community dialogue. With community dialogue, Prof said it that peace and conflict are of this two sides of the same coin. Yes. So with community dialogue, this is what is going to happen. We have in a community, like the dialogue that took place in Du yesterday, I'll cite it, organized by the council. It's a laudable initiative, but it shouldn't, again, be an avenue for politicians, you know, to take it. If you have a dialogue, I want to appreciate that one that happened in Du because it brought community leaders. Bear with me, you come from Uku, I come from Kambe. If you go to Uku and they say they are boys in the bushes, you will ask and they will tell you, this man knows one, this man knows one, this person knows one.
That's correct.
You know how we respect our traditional authority or our leaders, so to say, or just elders. If we have community dialogue amongst ourselves, we have these leaders, these community leaders come and sit and discuss, and they take it upon themselves that they are going to say the truth. That truth which politicians like my friend, Senator Engwi will not say as a politician. That truth which soldiers will not tell them. If we have leaders, community leaders, take that truth to them, they will tell the boys, look, the fund needs you in the palace. You are not coming back as criminals, all right?
The same funds that they have kidnapped and molested.
If the community, if the dialogue starts, funds will come back to the palaces. A good example is the fund of Bali. Former senator, former colleague to Senator Engwi. Yeah. The fund of Bali was an IDP before, if I'm not making a mistake. Yeah. He was an IDP. Where is he today? Is he not in Bali? Is he not receiving people in his palace in Bali? It's because of community dialogue. Community dialogue has paved the way for the fund of Bali to return home. I'm not from Bali, but as a reporter, I know all of this. If this community dialogue persists and then it is organized properly, it is going to reduce tensions. You know, there's been tensions like you go to the village, someone is saying, my father was killed. If we sit as a community and talk, I bet you these tensions will be reduced. It's going to create a pathway for peace.
Yes, let me ask you. You continue.
But 1 minute. Yes. I earlier warned about this time that you gave me. 1 minute. Let me tell you, it can only create pathway for peace. Now, I disagree with Engwi totally. For me, may not be using senator. We are used to calling people by their names in journalism. So if I say Engwi, don't be.
Just add the senator for the sake of peace.
Okay, for the sake of peace, I'll add senator.
Or you call him Francis. That's better. If you don't want to call senator.
As much as we want community to dialogue, it cannot replace political negotiations. There are people in the community fighting, but they don't know what they are fighting for. If you ask them, they will not understand. But because they saw that somebody was killed related to this, or because they feel that Kilian belongs to party X, party B, it shouldn't come here and so on. All right? So if we make them understand and then reduce tensions at the level of the villages, the communities, we are now going to look at the bigger picture, which is the political negotiation. That's where Senator Engwi will come in. That is where honorable will come, honorable whoever. That is where minister whoever comes in. But when it comes to community dialogue, let's allow the people speak among themselves. Let's allow the people talk to themselves.
Let the big people don't come in
again. Let the big people not come in again and distract them.
I'm a big man. I was championing the one in Widikum and it succeeded. Why are you stopping people from going in?
No, I'm not stopping any initiative. I'm not stopping any initiative.
Politicians are victims?
Please.
Politicians are victims.
Everybody is a victim. Everybody is a victim.
So you don't stop some people from going.
Everybody is a victim. I am saying this particularly to community dialogue. Please, by the way, the solution to community dialogue is not one size fits all.
Good.
What happens in Jikwa and how it can be solved is not the same as what happens in Du and how it can be solved. I'm talking about a general case, but I'm saying in specific cases, Njikwa may not be Isu. Njikwa may not be Upper Banyang or Tinto or wherever. Njikwa may not be Elak.
Very much
They
so.
have their own specificities. But I am saying, as much as we care about our politicians, they should give us a break and let the it has been 9 years. Senator Enwi, it's been 9 years.
I will let you continue to speak.
What you are saying, you can walk in the whole of Momo. I will be very happy to go back to Muswe and go and eat Nantare.
Eugene,
I think we'll talk when we leave here. We'll have time to chat more.
Senator,
understand what is
Eugene asked for more time. I will give him even more this time.
Yes.
This is the question I'm asking you. Community dialogue in some communities, perpetrators of such violence have been earmarked as devils. That is, there's someone known, identified as the one who killed your father, your mother, your siblings, and burnt down the building that you have toiled all along. And now, are you saying that in the community, you will sit with such a person and then just talk and say, okay, it is over, naturally, and it is over in good faith? Because this is exactly what happens in some places. Eugene starts.
Yes, let me come back again. Tensions within communities can be calmed by the same communities. If President Biya, let me now tell you, if President Biya says he is recommending community dialogue, that's what he said in November 6, when he was taking oath. I think by then, Senator Enwi had already gone ahead. So President Biya is coming. Maybe he learned from Senator Enwi. But I'm saying, again, no, maybe, who knows? He saw that he worked in Jikwa. That's what he was saying it on November 6th. Or in Widikum, sorry. That's why he was recommending it. But again, I'm saying, this can work. If you go to the church, to the palaces, to, constituted authorities within the community, and they sit to talk to and amongst themselves, there's room for forgiveness.
Okay.
There is room for rebuilding. There is room for reintegration. But again, the structural issues remain. So it opens, I said again that it opens a pathway. The structural issues remain. What am I talking about? It will not address governance issues that are the underlying factor. This is just giving away. But there are issues of governance that people have been talking about. The issues of perceived and even re-marginalization, like you marginalized me here at the beginning of the program.
And then you have hijacked the time. Hijacked the time and marginalized the others.
Now, when you want to address these issues, when you want to address these issues at the national level, get the community leaders who sat with the other community members to come over. You don't get the people from top offices in Yaoundé to come again and sit. Get the community leaders, after the community dialogue, they come and then sit with you and tell you, if you do this, my community, if you give light to Widikum, as Senator Ewe was protesting diplomatically here, if you give light, we will be happy.
Now, Eugene, you know that when you said the president learned from Senator Enwe,
I think so.
He said no, and they are used to saying that he is a wise man. And then he sees, even when they start doing it.
He was not seeing.
Now, that is your... Eugene raised a good number of issues. And we're going to try to see how we react to that, Professor Zengwa. You have 1.5 minutes. 1.5 minutes. Yes.
It's ending.
We have 9 minutes to go to end.
Maybe I should just say that we are in no way saying that politicians should be kicked out of the peace initiative. We are rather saying that the politicians should take their positions as politicians and allow experts in community peace building to play the role. That politicians should not be everywhere at any time. That is what we are saying. We are saying, like Eugene said, that dialogue can be within the community. You asked a very intriguing question. Can you kill somebody and you sit with the same person tomorrow to talk about peace? Yes. We have done that in Womb. The killings that took place in Womb, the burning of my palace, the killing of my grandmothers, we know who did that. And when we engage in community dialogue, we know who did what. And we could still sit and say, can we move on together? That is the type of dialogue we are talking about. But the problem is, what was the initial cause of those people protesting and killing one another.
Simple.
Was it a problem that emanated from the community? No. And that is what he talks about, structural problem. The crisis in the Northwest and the Southwest region was not caused by conflicts within the communities. The killings come as a consequence of a conflict situation. And which is that conflict situation? That conflict situation can only be handled by the powers that be.
Now, Dr. Ayuk, Professor Zengba is saying that the cause of the crisis is elsewhere, but the consequence is misguided and misdirected, if I understand him well. If the cause is elsewhere, why should you kill your own brother and sister? So what should be done for these people to understand that they don't have to kill their brothers and sisters for crises that are caused by different factors? So tell us.
Okay, the crisis, the conflict is a multi-layer conflict. We have generally accepted that community dialogue can provide a complementary solution to the Northwest and Southwest crisis, but it's not a substitute for national level dialogue. Another idea, our journalist here indicated whether the dialogue should start from the community before getting to at the level of the nation, which is very important. I also want to indicate that in this dialogue, no one is supposed to be left out. These big terms we move with politicians, and this is because you are a politician when you're solving a particular problem. You are an expert in an area to solve a problem. So it's a broad-based dialogue in our community, and no one should be left out, because what we want solution. I said sometime here that there is a missing gap. Anything that will ensure that people in our communities get peace education is very important. The crisis now have various forms. We cannot talk of the cause and the consequences. What is happening now, sometimes if you want to link it even to the cause of the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest, you will be completely lost. So to indicate, I think all of the stakeholders, the churches, the civil society, NGOs, they have to come together in various communities, put their head together and see how they can provide solution. Why other things that we have to fight it seriously at the level of our community is drug abuse. I think I suggest that for future debates we can ask: we can form a topic: is there an enabling environment for community dialogue? Because we have generally agreed, what I picked out here is that community dialogue can provide a complementary solution to the crisis. So we'll proceed next time to discuss whether there is an enabling environment for community dialogue in the Northwest and Southwest.
Thank you so much. We ourselves will have to create that enabling environment. Let me ask you this question. You have done so much. It's agreed that you have brought the boys from the bush, out of the bushes. You have helped them with motorcycles and other things that can reinsert them into the society. What is the follow-up? Are there some of them who have got frustrated and then gone back to the bushes? Because sometimes some of them have so much money without working so much to get the money.
No, in Widikum, we removed over 20 of them. None has gone back. The ones that came out of Resen are in DDR. And we communicating with them. They call me all the time as they are in Widikum. They drink with their friends and even take pictures in bars and say that we are dancing, we are enjoying. And, you know, there's something, when we talk of community dialogue, we are a community here today. And I saw that the dialogue could not flow because some people were against politicians and so on.
The dialogue is flowing.
And we
ideas are diversifying.
Diversified ideas. You know, the head of state, His Excellency President Paul Biya, has actually prescribed the treatment for this conflict for us to start at the community level. He knows what he will be doing at the national level. So each community should take its own responsibility to do all what they can do for peace and living together. You know, for peaceful coexistence amongst them. Because If we are waiting to say we want to hear from Yaoundé the political decision on this, let me tell you, I talked to these boys. Even the other day, I talked to one politician of Ndonga Manto. Can we track some numbers of those boys that committed that act? If you have one, give me the number.
I confirm that.
So if you
on
talk
press
to,
at the time, people dreaded being identified with those boys. You came to press R and you announced here that you were talking to them.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it's because of talking to them that you remove them. If you have a problem, you don't go talking to your friends. You don't go holding conferences and talking to yourselves without solving the problem. Talk to the enemy. And I think if all of us start doing that, you know, don't go.
I'm very convinced that I am one Cameroonian who has spoken to the worst of those boys in this country.
Let me tell you, Prof.
We don't come to the media to talk about that.
Let me talk, Prof.
Yes.
See, all the boys we have been talking to, none of them have spoken about the national aspect of this problem.
What do they talk
He's talking
about?
about his personal
community,
problem.
family.
All. My family, they be do this,
Yes.
they become then born with has affects. They become do this. My friend be call me, say, I just go, and then they just hold me for day. Those type of things. They be burn my bike, they be do my this. Nobody is talking about anything about the crisis. That is true. If I call somebody and put on speaker here, you hear what they're saying.
Okay. Now, Eugene.
But I think there are challenges in this community dialogue. It's a process, and it needs means, financing, for it to work. It's difficult to just go and start doing some of these things without using the means, because even the informers, they need money.
They need indicators, if you permit.
Yes. Exactly.
Now,
So,
we have 2 minutes to go to the end of this program. I am going to give each of you 30 seconds times 4 is 2 minutes.
No.
Eugene.
Yes.
Yes. A way forward.
I'm happy that Senator Henry Francis Abi has finally agreed that community dialogue is a process. He ended by saying it is a process. This process won't end at organizing funeral for those who have been killed by the Boises. It won't end at organizing a ceremony to hand gift or something to this, because it is a process. It has to continue. It started somewhere and it has to continue. And again, I come back and tell you, our community leaders can champion this better than us, some of us. Let me tell you, in the dialect, my dialect, there is something they call it in the dialect torch, just like the torch that we use.
Flashlight.
Yes, just like the flashlight. When every morning they say there is a torch call, it means the phone wants to see everybody. Like everybody, touch. That's how they say it in the dialect. Touch. Everybody has to go to the palace. And when you go to the palace, you are obliged to listen to a message either from the fund directly or from the fund's representative.
Thank you.
If you call that community dialogue
Dr.
2, 3, 4 times,
yes, it will work.
It will work.
Thank you.
It will go clan by clan, village by village. It is a process. You gather all of that. By the day you are coming for a national this thing in Yaoundé, you present that this is what the people of where I come from are saying about this. And then you look for the solutions to the problem.
Indeed, Eugene has taken all the 2 minutes.
Yes.
I'm going to.
You people took 18 at the beginning.
Plead with the production team to give you 30 seconds and Prof 30 seconds too.
Thank you, Kilian. Violence has never solved any problem anywhere. Solving this crisis and the forms of the crisis we are experiencing today starts at the level of the family. If you have any family member you know is somewhere committing atrocity, start fighting with that member. When we start fighting at the level of the family, at the level of the community,
fighting means that convincing them
start
to
providing solutions.
Thank you. Yes,
it will go a long way to provide to complement the solution to this problem.
For us, community dialogue is encouraged, and I think elders should come together.
Thank you so much.
And raise means to see how they can organize their communities to carry this this program ahead. And also, the government should actually create a structure with experts to see how to coordinate this, because we have conflicts almost everywhere in the whole country.
No, we already have one. Government has created the disarmament, demobilization.
No, I mean dialogue.
Now, okay.
Community.
Professor Zengwa,
yes.
The program is supposed to end, please, because you are the one. 30 seconds.
Yes, 30 seconds. There is nobody who has the right to kill whosoever, even a madman. We don't have the right. It is our absolute responsibility to engage actively in community development. Everybody, inclusive. But I still caution that the politicians should not be all-knowing, because I have been to the field, to all the regions, all the divisions. I see in every peace talk, the politicians want to be the politicians, the peace builders, the ones who decide the shot. So we are advising that for once, they can give a break.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
No, stop.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are not stopping you.
Our time is up.
Be there.
Our time is up. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much, Prof. It's ended, please. The program is ended. No, you had your 30 seconds. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you, wherever you are, for watching us on Press R today. We have another program next week. Have a good day ahead.
Same.
Sorry.